guys, the Benelli is back in the shop and I am super excited to at least make this much progress on it. So the goal of this video is going to be get some borescope footage in this thing. I actually had a viewer reach out and he has a modified socket that he used exactly for his Benelli 750 SEI that he was kind enough to sell me. So we are going to pull the plugs out of this thing. I have my borescope and we are going to inspect the cylinders, see if that's our issue, why the engine is actually seized up, if it's just a little bit of corrosion on the rings, and just try to get a better assessment overall of the bike. Last time I worked on this thing, I had about 24 hours from the time I purchased it to the time I had to take it to the warehouse because I have so many other projects going on. So we'll take a little bit of time and throughout the week kind of pick away at this thing and see what kind of trouble we can get in with it. So as of now, let's go ahead and get started. I will pull the plugs. We'll start taking a look at what we're dealing with. Now the general backstory of this bike is that I bought it, it was within a couple hours from me. I found it on Marketplace one night and decided to jump on it. Had a picture of this thing laying on its side. It had been in a barn for a long time, and the previous owner, just kind of a tragic story. It ended up just kind of going to waste, so to speak, and you know, I definitely don't blame the guy based on what he went through. So the bike was sitting on its center stand when it was parked, and eventually it kind of sank into the dirt and fell over. And what I didn't know when I first bought it was it had a crack in the case on the right side, and so we're going to have to address that. That's the biggest kind of issue with this thing. So yeah, it was potentially parked because it was crashed. There was no body work with it, so who knows, it could have got damaged in the wreck, and that's why it doesn't have it. So anyway, perfect for what I want to do with it, which is a really cool kind of like period inspired race bike, that kind of thing. And it will have a 6-in-1 exhaust on it. I do want to put a fairing on it, probably not with a lower fairing just because you want to show off the engine, right? But we'll do a fiberglass tank on it, a little tail. It will be very vintage inspired. I want to keep the Barani rims, we'll relace them, and we'll just clean it up with like the stock suspension and just make a really cool tribute. But I do want some modern touches. I want probably like a digital tachometer. I want to remake an entire harness, put modern electronics on it, digital ignition or electronic ignition. We'll have fun with it that way, but for the most part it will be, you know, kind of how it was. You know, there's always something faster. I could go and spend way less money on a used 1990s CBR or something like that, have something way faster that handles way better. That's not what this is about. This is about something that is really unique, really cool, and it's going to sound badass, let me tell you. So, really excited about this project. I know a lot of you guys are not going to agree with the direction I will take. That's just fine. I'm totally okay with like stock museum bikes or whatever. You know, those don't really interest me. I respect them though. So, this is my bike. I'm going to do with it what I want. But I will do it justice, and it will be really cool. That one's a little tight. We'll put some heat on that with a little penetrant. Hopefully that'll come right out. We will take our time with this. Now originally whenever I started washing this thing, I had a lot of people who thought that I sprayed water directly in these ports. Guys, come on. No. What you didn't see was me coating the inside of all of this with WD-40 and then penetrant, and then covering it all up with a rag and not spraying directly on it, and then pulling the rags out when I was done, and then spraying again more penetrant and lubricant. So yeah, these are totally good. Not my first rodeo. Where are we at? There it is. Golden brown. Alright, put a little penetrant on this, we'll move to the other side. We'll put a little bit of penetrant on that one as well. All right, that's all 6. All right, let's go ahead and use our bore scope. We'll check out all of the cylinders. You can see here, we'll put up the video on the screen and see what we're looking at here, see what the condition is. All right, let's go ahead and check out cylinder 1. That's looking really good. See the cross hatching. Down here, just maybe a tiny bit of corrosion. Looking really good. Cylinder number 2. Piston being up on this one where I could be able to see anything. Cylinder number 3. See here we have a little bit of surface rust. Tiny bit. See right there, that might be something. Overall though, I'm pretty beyond happy with that. Alright, let's go to 4, 5, and 6. Alright, cylinder number 4. You can see up top there, barely, there's some corrosion. But moving down here, it's looking less and less severe. Still really good condition on that bore. Again, only so much we can see. Alright, cylinder 5, I believe the piston's up in this one. Yeah. Can't really see much there. Cylinder number 6. The back side of the valve. Ah, okay. This is our problem child right there. Okay. It'd be nice to be able to see a little bit more on that one. Now this was the cylinder that was on the downside, so when the bike was laying over, it was laying on its right side. So moisture could have accumulated right along the side of the cylinder, which is where we're seeing it here. Because it's 90 degrees to the valve relief. You notice right there? So that's putting it right over here. And if any kind of moisture came in through the filter or anything like that, that's, you know, if that valve is open, which we can see the exhaust valve is, that's right where that would accumulate. But overall, not bad. I think what I still want to do is go ahead and fill the cylinders up with a mix here, and then we'll try to unseize it. You know, even if I rebuild it, I have to unseize it. But I'd be curious to see if we could make it run on that. You know, if you guys remember my CB750, that thing had a cylinder that looked just like that. Got it running, did a bunch of oil changes on it. It's clean as can be, and it makes all of 165 psi across the board in the cylinders. Perfect cylinder seal. So, still hope for this thing. 5 out of 6 are pretty damn good. So I also got a lot of comments on this last video when I pointed out that I was using JIS screwdrivers on this engine. Everybody's like, it's an Italian bike, it doesn't take JIS. You see that little dot right there? Number 2, JIS. This one's a impact driver, so it's really heavy. Let's just put that in there. Yeah. I think it's a JIS. I don't know any other driver that would do that. Okay, here is my plan moving forward. For cylinder 6, this is obviously the one that we have to focus on the most right now. So I'm going to do this in 2 stages. First stage, I'm going to use evaporust. And I will fill that cylinder, basically just that cylinder, with evaporust. Hopefully we will be able to get rid of most of what we see on the cylinder wall. And then after we drain cylinder 6, I will refill all of them with a mixture of acetone and ATF. So we will see how that goes. I'll let that sit for more than a few days, but I believe after a few days we could probably crack this thing loose, and we will be able to kind of re-inspect it from there. If you remember, in the last videos I did remove all of the tappet covers. Everything up top looks immaculate. Everything through the actual oil fill point, like where your dipstick is, looks really good. The backs of the valves look good. So to me, I still think there could be hope here. Obviously we have the lower case, which is cracked, but I mentioned as a temporary fix, just to kind of get it going, why not, go ahead and put some JB Weld on it or something. But it is what it is. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this thing up with some evaporust. Fill that thing. We'll come back tomorrow. A little bit more to go. All right, we're coming out of the exhaust. We're full. All right, we got that poured in. It's filled up as high as it needs to go. So let's give it 24 hours and we will come back and check on it. We'll drain everything and then we will refill. What do you think of Benelli? What do you think of it? Kind of a junky bike, isn't it? You think all my bikes are junky? Offended. I really need a new tripod. Alright guys, it's been about 18 hours since we actually put in the evaporust in the cylinder, so let's go ahead and see where we are at here. Flashlight. As of now, I can tell that it has actually seeped in past the rings, so let's get the borescope back out and see what cylinder looks like. We don't know how long it took to kind of work its way in there, but we will investigate. All right, got the camera. All right, so not a big change. Slightly improved, but again, not a big change. So until I work on this a little bit later today, I will go ahead and refill it with some evaporust. And we'll kind of monitor how fast it's going to go ahead and seep past. But we might need a slightly thicker mix. Alright, so it's been a couple more hours and the level of the evaporust in this cylinder has dropped almost out completely. I did fill up number 3 earlier, and basically that level has just kind of maintained. But as of now, I'm going to suction out the remaining evaporust, and then we'll go ahead and fill all 6 with the mixture of ATF and acetone. Alright, for this we're using a 50-50 mix of acetone and ATF. So I'm going to go ahead and we have, we'll go on the pint side. That way we have our mixture. Stir it up real good. We'll try not to drink this. Alright, let's go ahead and start pouring it in the cylinders. Alright, cylinder 1. Right there. Three down, 3 go. All right, all of it is filled up. We have every cylinder with our mixture. Now we just wait. I know this one's going to end up seeping down the fastest from what I've seen, but we'll give it a little bit of time and then we'll try rotating the engine. So I think while I have a little bit extra time tonight, I want to work on just getting rid of all the wiring on this thing. None of it's going to be used. You know, I'll keep the controls on it for right now, even though those are straight Honda controls, as is the wiring color on this thing. But I definitely want to get rid of all this friggin' like cable loom and stuff like that. It just doesn't look right on here at all. So we'll have a little bit of a zen moment here. We'll put on some music and just get rid of all this stuff. I know this seems harsh, but everything is destroyed anyway, so. We are just going to use 0 of this. Alright, well it has been another 24 hours and we've had that solution sitting in the cylinders. This entire time I've been coming back out here every few hours and just topping it off, so it's maintained a full level basically this whole time. So that should give us at least enough of a trial run, or enough time period to let all that stuff seep past the rings. Hopefully this thing is going to free up on us. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I will put it in 5th gear, and then what we want to do is pay attention to how we're going to rotate the engine on this one. So the exhaust valve on number 6, this is the cylinder in question, looks like it is about open, and the piston is at the bottom of its stroke. So what we can presume is that it's going to be on the exhaust stroke with the piston moving upwards. So I'm going to try to rotate the engine backwards, and just to get the rings to come away from that rust, and then we'll reassess. We'll see if it moves at that point. Now another step I could take that is suggested by a lot of people is using heat on the cylinders, and I do agree, but if you remember, these cylinders are filled with this exact concoction, and that shit's flammable. So I don't want to light this bike on fire. And I think it's best we play it safe here. So I'm going to do it without heat. We'll take it very slow and see how it goes. Okay, let's see if it does it. I know I put this thing into 5th yesterday. So we're going to try to rotate it backwards. We're not going to put too much force on it. That might have unseized it. Let me take a look. Obviously we're pushing out some fluid right now. It might be unseized. Just barely. Going back just a little bit more. She's moving. Whoop. All right, that didn't take much force. We're making a mess, but I'm happy to make this mess right now. So you can see the advancer here at the end of the crank rotating. So I'm going to inspect the bores right here, probably suction out some of this stuff so we can stop making a mess, and then reassess. Oh man. Okay, let's take a quick look and see what our cylinder's looking like. Let's see what's my orientation here. So we should be down just a little bit below where we were. So right there you can kind of see the line that it was at. Going on. I think this just died. Dang it. Should have known better. Alright, regardless, let's go ahead and rotate this thing a little bit more and see how it feels. I'm going to try to do it slow. It takes a little bit of force. All kinds of messes. go. Alright, all of the solution should be out of the cylinders by now. Test and see how it feels to rotate by this. A little too much force right now. Just keep going by the back wheel. And since I have a bunch of ATF, I'm just going to fill the valve train with this. I did oil them before, so I mean they're not. It's not like I'm doing this dry. Alright, I got the bike in neutral now. Little tight spot right there. That's right about where the piston was originally. That would make sense. Overall, that's feeling really smooth. Alright, we've got number 6 at the very bottom of its stroke. So we can inspect that one, then we'll rotate the engine and then inspect all the other cylinders at their lowest point. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our cylinders. So we'll just start with cylinder 1. Everything's just kind of glassy looking from the oil, but this is slightly farther down than it was originally. You guys can tell, but overall, bore looks really clean. Alright, we have cylinder 2 at the bottom of its stroke. Ooh. So we've never really been able to see this cylinder. Vertical line there. You can only see so much. Not bad though. And cylinder 3. Looks like we had a lot of junk that was kind of floating on the piston. Not bad though. On to 4, 5, and 6. Cylinder 4. You can kind of see that little ring on the top of rust. This one was sitting up high. And again, I know everything's kind of glassy looking right now just because of all the oil. Not bad though. That one sitting up high like that likely protected it a little bit more. You can see just in that upper left hand corner a little discoloration. Not bad though. Cylinder 5. See a little discoloration there. That, or it's actually reflecting red. Could be a little bit of corrosion. Pretty pleased though. I have no idea how many miles this bike had on it, but it looks alright. And finally we'll move to 6. Alright. And look at that. Now there's bound to be a couple scratches on the left side just because that's where the corrosion was, but I actually can't see anything like what we were before. Not saying it's not there, but seems like there's less. Yeah. You see maybe a few more vertical scratches in this one. And that's to be expected. It's not going to be perfect. Not going to be perfect. Overall though, very pleased. Alright, I'm super excited right now. The engine is unseized and that is a huge step forward. Now it would be very fun to kind of hotwire the ignition, put some new points on it, and clean the carbs, put some manifolds, a few other little tidbits on here, and see if we can crank it to life. You know, not riding or anything like that, but it would be cool to see if this thing does run. And that might still be something that I do in the future. The main thing with this bike is that I do need to fix that hole in the oil gallery on the right side. So what I'm thinking for that one is to actually remove this Welsh plug on the other end of the gallery. There's some debris on the other side, and I could use compressed air and other liquids to just force all of that back out. And then maybe I could put another fitting on here to help actually put oil in and then build oil pressure pre-first start. That would be something cool to do. And then probably just use JB Weld on the right side to help seal it up, because if I was going to weld that one, I'd do a complete teardown. So if this thing does end up getting a teardown in the near future, I will fix the cases. But if I can make it run in the meantime and you know, just have a little bit of fun with it, why not? You know, I'm not expecting perfection, as I've mentioned a few times. Anyway, this is going to be a fun project. It's still not going to be something that's high on the priority list right now. I do have to work on the CBX first. I have a lot of people every day requesting updates on that thing, and basically it's just, I've been super busy, and there are a lot of priorities that take precedent to the CBX. But with that thing, I just need to vapor hone the cases, and then I have to have some cylinder, some head work done to it, and then I can assemble the engine, and then from there turn my attention to the chassis. But you know, it's just there's just a lot going on, and I've had a lot of customer stuff and business changes and just a lot of different things keeping me from actually working on the CBX. But I promise it is high on the priority list right now, and hopefully I will drag that thing back in the shop and make some progress on it here very shortly. I think I just said shortly, but you know what I mean. So anyway, I'm sure many of you will have plenty to say on how I did stuff wrong, and you know, I don't know what I'm doing and all that stuff, but here it is, unseized, you know, safely, and I think we did a good job. But I'm sure I'll hear from you in the comments. If you liked it, let me know. Please share the video if you think it's cool. Subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, hope you guys liked the video. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.